How's it going today, everyone? Forgot to post on Instagram, so I'm just going to do that post really quickly while I make sure my audio's sorted and everything's running good. You could let me know in the chat. I just saw my video pop up. Get that muted. Hopefully, we're good to go. But yeah, my plan for today, Swag Daddy getting impatient, is this a rug pull? Not a rug pull. Hopefully, this is streaming to you. You're seeing it now. Not a scam. Gonna get it shared over on Instagram. See if we can get a few extra people in. Last stream of 2022. What a year. Couple things to go through in today's stream. Nothing too crazy. I will show the cards that came from why can't I do a link? I'll show the cards that came from the Poke Knowledge cards base set Japanese starter deck that we split down in Denver. I got those back from PSA. I have the grades. I don't know why I can't post a link to my story now. I just posted a story that I'm live now, but I guess I can't post a link to it. For some reason, my Instagram wasn't letting me. So people will just have to search. But yeah, I'm just going to hang out with chat. Thumbnail pic needs a bigger beard. Yeah, I do need to go through and have Ernesto, he needs to get some new images of me now. Now that the beard, some of those old stock thumbnails that I was using. It's a little weird to go back to those ones now. But yeah, last stream of the year, I'm going to show off the grades that came from the Japanese starter deck that PK and I shared. I did see a couple. I tried to not look. We got a Magneton there with a nice swirl. I did my best to not look, but PSA doesn't send the cards back in order. So I had to go through and find all the cards, do my best to not look at the grade. Nothing crazy. There were no upcharges in the entire order. So I don't even know what Magneton in a 10 would be worth. But yeah, we'll go through those at some point. I have a couple other fun little things to look at, reflecting on the year. But yeah, live Q&A. We do have Rusty tomorrow for Pokeflips, so be sure to go over to Pokeflips, ring that bell, all that good stuff. I'm sure most people here that want to be on Pokeflips are already there, but I am going to link it just in case anyone isn't. We will have Rusty tomorrow, exciting live to end the year. Normally we don't do back-to-back guests, but sometimes we will make exceptions to work in with someone's schedule. Rusty said he was available that day, so we went for it. We shot our shot, and we made it. We've got him. Appreciate you, Jacob. New backdrop looks good. I have had quite a bit of positive feedback on that, which, I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I work in here all the time, so it's nice to surround myself with cool stuff. But yeah, feel free to leave your questions in the chat, and I'm just gonna hang out with chat and then go randomly to the desk cam to show some other stuff. But I don't have too much. We got an hour and a half here. We're gonna go till 4:30 Eastern, just hanging out. How's it going? Ankle Breaker, Brandon Baker, Max, Swise, Pokedep, Raymond in the chat, Mr. Walrus, some of the staples of the live stream chats. Am I one to set concrete goals for the year? Yeah, when I was a chemical engineer in a former life, my boss, when I first started, was very big on setting SMART goals. SMART being an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So I've kind of carried that over, probably not as specifically, not as firmly as I should have. But yeah, I would say that I have some SMART goals set for 2023. Some of them are very specific number things. So I don't really want to share the exact numbers, but as far as looking at my Troll and Toad inventory, there's a certain number that I want to get that to. Monkey brains like the nice round numbers, so there's a nice big round number that seems reasonable to achieve in 2023 at some point. My eBay inventory, right now I'm at about 2,000 items, which is near the most I've ever been. It's kind of an interesting idea of, I don't necessarily want to get to 3,000 listings or 4,000 listings. I mean, the perfect state would be to be, and I'm going to make a video on this in the coming weeks, but to be in a state where, say I have 2,000 listings, every day I sell 20 and every day I list 20. So I don't necessarily grow in amount of listings, but I am just constantly like moving through 1% sell through per day, something like that. So yeah, I have some, I'm going to do a standalone video next week on Monday where I talk a little bit about the year. I'm going to release a little bit of new branding, nothing crazy, just a new logo, new business card, all that stuff. So that'll be my video on Monday. And I might briefly touch on a little bit more specifically some of the goals. But the first 2 or 3 videos of the year probably will be like 2022 year in review / looking ahead to 2023. And talking about some of those goals. So I don't really have them like written down to a point where I can share today, but they will be shared, the ones that I can, in the coming weeks. Drew P, this is indeed where the cool kids hang out. I wonder how many different UPCs will be released in 2023. Yeah, I mean, they did the celebrations, they did the Charizard one this year, and also the Arceus, which you see there. Before those, I mean, I believe the first UPC was the Zacian Zamazenta. I don't know how to say Zacian. But I could see 1 or 2. I don't know that it'll necessarily... Problem is, if everything's ultra premium, if you start doing like 6 per year, then nothing's ultra premium, right? So they need to keep it, in my opinion, limited to just a couple at most. Otherwise, it starts to feel overdone and it doesn't feel as ultra premium. Then they'll have to go to like super ultra premium deluxe versions to make it feel the same. Yeah, Rusty's the exception to the rule. We have guests every other episode except Rusty he's a good person to be the exception because he is an exceptional. He's an exceptional person. So yeah, for him to be the guy to break the streak of every other, it's fitting. Thanks, Ancient Mew. How's it going, Robbie? Joe, Basic in the chat. How's it going, Flex? Tips for falling in love with making content again. That's tough. You definitely need to avoid burnout. I guess one would be set a reasonable schedule for you. And some people this wouldn't apply to. I think some people... The issues you can run into with a fixed schedule. Like I have a fixed schedule. Some people don't like that because then they feel the pressure to produce, pressure to perform on a set schedule when they may have no topic in mind. I still have a document where I have 30 plus ideas I've not yet made. So if and when that starts running dry, if and when I get to where I feel like I'm having to really think and press myself for ideas to come up with to make a video, then I might like run out of, I might fall out of love of making content. But yeah, I haven't gotten there yet. I've tried to, my plan to avoid that was to set a slow, reasonable schedule. I think a lot of people go really gung-ho. I'm going to do something every day, every week. I'm going to do stuff Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week. And I did. For a while, I was doing 2 or 3 videos a week. It got to where it felt like a little much, so I just went back to 1 a week. I think this 1 a week, I think I'm going to stick with that for a long time. So set a reasonable schedule for you. But part of the reason that I made myself set a schedule is because I have so many ideas, and it's so easy to get complacent, and it's so easy to procrastinate. If I didn't make myself make a video for every Monday, I would just let those things sit, and I would let my video idea backlog grow, and I'd end up not making content. So for me, I personally know that I'm the kind of guy that I needed a schedule that would kind of not force me to come up with an idea. Like I'm not under any pressure from that regard, but just putting me under the pressure to actually record a video for which I already have an idea. So yeah, that's where I'm at. If it doesn't happen, I guess don't force it. Like, you don't need to make content. I enjoy, I mean, the more Pokemon content, the better. I enjoy your videos for sure, especially the convention ones. I think a lot of people note that those are the type of videos that are missing. Making the plays at conventions, buying, flipping, trading. So yeah, if you can come around to making them, that'd be great. But I mean, don't feel like you need to either, because that, I think, can lend to burnout. Those are my thoughts. How's it going, Devin? Tips for falling in love. Definitely don't want to force that either. That's one I'm not gonna touch. Can we start the Orlando hype up, or is it too early? It's absolutely not too early. My section is booked. My flights are booked. My hotel is booked. So we can get the hype train rolling any moment. I'm already getting pretty hyped for it. Tips for buying Star Wars serialized cards. How to identify value. L-Dubs was talking about this in Discord earlier and made a joke that he'd bring it up in my chat. I have no recommendations as to serialized cards, Star Wars or any other. What are your thoughts on Zard UPC promo PSA 10s reaching 100? I saw one sell for 99, so it's there. Is there still a play to grade and sell them? Yeah, I mean, the raws are selling for 15, 10 to 20, I believe. I think $100 is reasonable. I think in my video, I think I mentioned that long-term PSA 10 price point could be around $50, right? 50 to 100 would be completely reasonable to me. PSA turnarounds are sub 3 months, and grading is only $15. I think some people were so surprised by me saying that these could be $50 PSA 10s eventually. I don't understand how you could be surprised. I don't care what the print quality is. They printed a ton of them. You don't have to send every one. Like, you don't have to get a 10% 10 rate. You can pre-grade, and you can only send out the clean ones. And even if only 10% of the ones from production are clean, crack 100 of them, send the best 10, and you're gonna get all 10s, right? I mean, mass produced. This is mass produced stuff. So $50 is completely reasonable PSA 10 price for me. PSA 9s being $20, something like that. Losing money on the 9s, maybe close to breaking even, and then making money on the 10s. That's historically, I mean, cards that are mass printed should all be that, in my opinion. I mean, you should always lose money on a 9. It's a failed attempt at grading a 10. That's my opinion on those. Uh-oh. Mr. Hero Arita. That's I like that name. I don't know that I've seen that name around, but Sassy Charmander, I do not have express written consent from Pokemon to use Sassy Charmander. So unfortunately, it's not a situation like TCA Gaming used to be the Charizard Authority. He was, I believe, contacted by Pokemon. Not, we're going to sue you, this, that. They just said, hey, you can't use Charizard, stop it, as far as I understand. I probably won't get to the scale where Pokemon will ever notice me and say, hey, you can't use our Charmander. But before I do, before they break up with me, I'm going to break up with them, and I'm going to drop Sassy Charmander, just because it is, I mean, it's infringing on their copyright. It's not my intellectual property. I shouldn't have built my brand around it. Not that I really have much of a brand, not that I did. The genesis of me using Sassy Charmander was that 8 years ago, when I was creating an avatar for the Elite Forum, for E4, I used that picture of Sassy Charmander. And when you're using an avatar on a Pokemon forum, I think something like that is a lot more reasonably fair play. But when I've created a business, and thankfully I didn't put Charmander in my business name, Catch 'em All Collectibles, it does have the KETCHUM, which is Ash's last name. I don't believe that that's anything that they can pursue me over. But yeah, I just want to drop the Charmander because it's not right to use it. And if I ever wanted to create playmats or shirts or anything like that, I couldn't use that anyways. So yeah, unfortunately, Sassy Charmander will be gone. Mr. Hero Arita. Last live ever. I don't think I said that, did I? Last live of 2022. Definitely not my last live ever. 2023, I intend to keep the same exact content schedule. Monday, pre-recorded videos. Wednesday or Thursday, pending my schedule, live streams. and then Poke Flips every other Thursday, and shorts at least once a week. And then the MetaZoo or non-Pokemon videos, I think I'm going to go from every Saturday that I've done this month, just because of that massive binder collection buy. I think I'm going to go back to every other week for that for 2023. Coke must have spent all their ad dollars for 2022. They've not yet reached out to me on a sponsorship deal, but I'm here. What's my sitting cutie goal for 2023? I genuinely would love to have the entire Kanto Pokédex. I don't know how close to that I am. I'm probably a long ways off. But what are they? I've bought so many and I forget how much they are. Let me look quick. Sitting cuties are... The thing is, they're not all in stock right now, and I'm definitely not going to pay eBay prices on them. Some people, I think, buy them in bulk, flip them on eBay for more money when they sell out. I don't do that at all. I just buy the ones I like. My internet is not loading for some reason. I want to say they're like $12 or something, though. I mean, I'm probably like $1,000 to $1,500 away from finishing them all. There's no way I'm halfway there. So I probably have over $1,000 to get the entire Kanto Pokédex, but I would love to. Do I have a bottom price for alt arts regardless of the Pokemon giving the pull rates? Absolutely not. I don't really buy and speculate in modern singles like that. I don't mass break modern product either. So alt arts are just entirely off my radar for the most part. I think I own one. I think at some point someone was talking about how there was one in Pokemon Go that was like $10 or less, and it didn't make sense. So I bought one just to say I had an alt art, just to see one in person. That's still the only alt art I've ever owned, I believe. Maybe I pulled one on a stream at some point. I can't really remember, but yeah, I'm not the best guy for like the latest alt art craze, hype mania information. Favorite EX era set and top 3 cards from that era? That's a great question. It's weird. It's really weird, but Unseen Forces is such a beautiful set, and it's such a shame what happened with the Gold Star Beasts. And Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. It's such a shame because the lineup of EXs in that set. I mean, even the legendary beasts. I love the legendary beasts. That trio is I mean, right after the legendary birds, probably my favorite legendary trio, just because they're the 2 from the games that I played. So probably Unseen Forces, just for holos to gold stars to EXs, just having awesome lineups. Top 3 cards from the entire EX set era. Ones that stand out. I mean, the Gyarados Gold Star is really cool. You've got, I mean, unfortunately, the Greninja Gold Star, beautiful card. It isn't actually from the EX era. Might be news to some people, but it would have been a top 3 card from that era had it been from then. But so Gyarados Gold Star. I'm trying to think. There's so, like, I don't even know the sets well enough to just... I can't give you my absolute top 3 cards, but three of the better ones would be probably just 3 gold stars that come to mind would be the easiest way to go. Gyarados, and then I'd go... Trying to think which one next. Mewtwo, and... I mean, the Charizard one's really cool too. Charizard, it's a shame to say Charizard because that's what everyone thinks. And Rayquaza is cool, but I don't think he's 40k cool. It's always hard to say, like, in absolute terms, money aside or factoring money into it. If you factor money into it, Rayquaza would be nowhere near justifying what it goes for, in my opinion, nor Charizard even. But there's a lot of slept on alt arts you can get for great prices right now. I think there's a lot of great everything you can get for great prices. And alt arts are one of the things that come to mind like last. I think alt arts are right like in the major hype cycle. I think alt arts are just on everyone's mind, the latest, greatest, craze, hype, maximum, all that. So to me, like, where I personally see the most value is nowhere near modern, ultra modern. Personally, but yeah, relative to others, there's absolutely, if you look at only alt arts, I'm sure that there's ones that are relative much higher value as opposed to others. So random, but how off center does a card have to be for you to consider it a candidate for OC grading? I think so many people, uh, such a strange thing to me how many people let PSA's unwillingness to identify or label their error or defect, how much they let that like detract from their personal value of the card. PSA is really inconsistent with how they label OC, miscut, things like that. To me personally, I don't like cards that are OC. I don't like cards that are errors, that have any kinds of issues. I like a card to be produced as it was intended. I mean, so I don't really grade for that, but if I was attempting to, I guess I have a couple times. I do have some cards that are like way off center. I want to see no border. To me, I want to see no border at all. Like I want it to be, which is bordering more on miscut, I guess, than OC. But miscut, OC, it's kind of semantics to some extent. But again, PSA is so inconsistent with that. Generally speaking, I think if you want errors and things like that identified, CGC is a lot more consistent and better, as far as I understand. I'm not an expert in that, but that's just my my quick take on that. What's your favorite legendary bird? I always like Zapdos the best. I don't know why exactly. I guess he just looks the coolest to me. I do have a Zapdos up above me. But yeah, I like them all. I would probably rank them Zapdos, Articuno, Moltres. I'm getting quite a ways behind in the chat. Let me try to catch up, and then I'll show the return from yeah, PK and I. We opened a Japanese starter deck. I don't know if he's gonna be. He works during the day, and I don't think he's able to join live streams too frequently during the day. But I will show our return that we got from our. I asked him if he wanted the grades sent to him, if he wanted them spoiled, but he said just show him in a live stream, and I'm sure he'll watch it afterwards at some point. I'll send him a timestamp. Lives help make content, though. Just creating the space for people to listen and interact. Dan's doing things right in 2021. 2021, Mr. Walrus is a year behind. Dan's a PSA 9 OC. Think Pokemon Crafts would do good at Orlando. One thing I'm gonna make an assumption here, but I'm assuming by Pokemon Crafts you could mean altered art cards, like where you take a card and you paint on it. And as far as I understand, per IP, per copyright, all that, I think you're good to go if you're just taking something Pokemon and doing your own art from it. But if you're talking about like creating your own shirts, creating your own trinkets of some kind and putting Pokemon characters on it without their consent, a lot of people do it, and I just personally don't really like it. Pokemon sells a ton of their own stuff through Pokemon Center. I think that they should get the proceeds from that if anything were to happen. So they might do fine. I just personally wouldn't recommend violating copyright law. I don't think anyone will care. I think people might buy it from you, but I know that some types of trade shows I've been to, they have actually cared about that, and they've not allowed people. They had to like, you had to tell them what you were going to sell, and they had to approve it. And if you said, I'm gonna create my own shirts and put NFL logos on it and put this and that on it, and you didn't have like the legal right to do that, they wouldn't allow you to sell it. I think that's fairly rare, but that is a thing. I doubt Collecticon is caring about that, but yeah. Kieran, I hope you're doing well. First time catching the live stream. Any thoughts on EX era cards? They usually have low pops, while PSA 10s and some 9s seem to maintain high to mid range values. I like the EX era a lot. I went through and I opened one box of every set. I just recently graded a PSA 10 Rockets Mewtwo from EX Team Rocket Returns. The pop is in like mid double digits, I believe. It's a few $1,000 card though. Like I think that's a lot of money for a set card. Pop is relatively low relative to other hobbies, relative to sports, things like that. But to me, like it's going for a fair bit of money. I'm a seller at that price. I'm not a buyer of any of those cards at those prices. PSA 9s, I did own every PSA 9 Old Skool EX card. I sold them all. I'm not a buyer at the prices that they currently are. I think they're reasonable though. I understand why people would be wanting to buy them. I'm just not that guy, I guess. I climbed that mountain, I reached the summit, and then I moved on from them. Thoughts on Pokemon rebounding / booming before or concurrently with the general stock market S&P? I think I've mentioned this many, many times, but I think as a whole, generally, I mean, not one-to-one correlation, but Pokemon will follow to some extent the broader world economy. If the stock market tanks another 50% and we go into a major depression, that's going to be very negative on Pokemon card prices, modern and vintage. If the S&P 500 doubles over the next 5 years and we go into some major kind of a boom broadly, I think Pokemon will be more likely to do really well. LW, since you have such a large backlog of grading inventory, have you constructed an active plan for the future when the backlog is completely cleared? Would you buy modern to grade, add more TCGs? I don't have like an obscene amount of backlog. I guess I kind of do, but I guess it depends on how deep I get. I did buy that collection. I bought that $50,000 binder collection. If I want to go deep with that binder collection, I could have thousands of cards to grade, probably, just from that. I don't know that I'm going to grade $2 Yu-Gi-Oh cards and try to sell them for $50 in PSA 10, but if I want to, they're there. But yeah, I do grade some amount of Modern. I'm grading some amount of Metazoo. I'm grading some amount of Naruto, DBZ. So absolutely. Couldn't you add a beard to the Charmander? No one would recognize it. There's an idea. I mean, there's like a... Mr. Walrus is an idea, man. What was my PSA 10 rate in the Zard promos? Also, were you able to sell before the prices crashed down? I made a standalone video on the Charizard UPC. I forget exactly. I think I graded 9, maybe 3 of each, and I think I got 4 10s. I made money. I made a couple $100, but like not a lot of money. I spent $50 a piece on some, $100 a piece on others. I didn't spend $150 on any of them. But yeah, overall, I guess I had about a 40% 10 rate, somewhere around there. And I did. I sold them all. I don't own anymore. I sold my 10s between 200 and 300, except for that. No, that was special delivery Charizard that I sold for $675. But yeah, I was able to thankfully sell all my PSA 9s between 50 and 80, I think. Is there a sitting cutie for every Pokemon? I don't believe they have made them, but I do believe periodically, eventually they will. Sitting cuties, the way that they go, they don't have any formal release schedule. Like Charmander will come in stock, go out of stock. I don't know how many they make per run. I don't know how many times Charmander's been reprinted, but it's kind of like a printed demand thing. I think they just periodically release a new wave of, oh, here's 20 brand new sitting cuties we've never made before. Here's 20 old ones that we're restocking because they're popular and because they all sold out. I don't know the exact, if there's a rhyme or reason behind it, but yeah, they're going in and out of stock periodically. Do you think keeping the Zard UPC sealed is a better play? I have a certain amount that I'm keeping sealed. I'm slowly selling them. Very, very slowly selling them. I'm not going to sell any for a loss. Stolen Toad Evo, they're still like trickling out. Well, it's probably been a few weeks since any have sold, but they were trickling out $5 or $10 profit per box. But yeah, I want to have dozens of them moving into the medium term future. But do I think investing in sealed Zard UPCs is a good investment compared to what else is out there, risk adjusted? No, I don't think there's any Pokemon investment that is better on risk-adjusted terms than the S&P 500 or something like that. The only reason that I do this is because I'm flipping in it, and I do invest to some extent in some items by, yeah, I'm not actively flipping my entire inventory into the market. Like there are certain inventories, certain quantities of items being held back to a later date, so I'm speculating on them by holding them longer. Like some businesses, they'll buy 300 cases of every booster box at release, and within 6 months, they need to or desire to have all of them gone. I sell on a much longer time frame. Back in 2014, when I first got in, I was doing about 2 cases of every set with a 2 to 5 year time horizon potentially to sell them for maybe $50 to $100 a box profit. 2020 happened and I sold almost everything I had because the numbers were crazy. But right now, like Evolving Skies, I have none. I'm not investing at these prices. I sold them all. If and when they reprint, I'll buy them. But yeah, if and when a box goes to 300 within a year, I'm gonna have zero left. If and when they trickle up from 80 to 100 to 120, 150, 200, 300, 5, 10 years down the line, by then I'll probably have most of them gone too. Very dynamic, not very concrete rules for how I decide to sell and when I decide to sell. Did you see that thing releasing in China with the EVs? I need them, but no way to get one. LOL. I did see something in Discord about a Chinese EV product. I just don't like to buy things generally. I do have. You actually can't see it, but it's above me. The Precious Collector box. I did buy that at retail through Japanese, through the whole Tenso account, all that. I just don't really like to do that when I have access to so much product wholesale and I can get in at the ground floor, sales tax exempt, all that stuff. I don't like to buy stuff from the open market at market price generally. How do you see 2023 Pokemon strategy and new Scarlet and Violet set? I'm bullish. I'm bullish on cardboard into 2023 in the future. I think Pokemon is at an amazing place. I'm really interested to see. I think sometime around May or June, maybe July, we should get the data on the print run through March of 2023. I'm really interested to see, is it higher than 9.1 billion? Is it less than 9.1 billion? It's fascinating that they were able to print 9.1 billion cards and all these sets are still 120, 110. I think in the first quarter of 2023, we're going to get hit with a major reprint of sets like Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies, Silver Tempest, basically all sets from the past year, because the prices are drifting up on that. They're still in print. They're still needed for in rotation, all that. Alt arts are gold stars. Too soon to discuss in depth. In 10 years will be a good topic. Pokemon DNA says, quoting me, plastic is going to go down in value over time and are a bad place to park monies. Also, Dan, I would love to collect all 151 Sitting Cuties from Kanto. I'm a collector at heart. Like, I'm absolutely a collector at heart. I think a lot of people, like, I'm going to buy the Sitting Cuties as a consumer, knowing that they're worth nothing. The whole basic trainer thing. When he buys something, he mentally attributes their value 0. If 5, 10, 20 years down the line, if they're worth something, great. Like, that's a win. Not expected, though. No expectation whatsoever. Not only no expectation, no need for it. A lot of people put themselves in a position financially where they need stuff to go up or they're going to be in a world of hurt. So with Sitting Cuties, I know what I'm getting into, and they're all worth 0 when I buy them. Absolutely. Sitting Cuties definitely don't only have one print run. I'm assuming that was a joke comment mostly. Plastic is to protect cards. You collect cards, not plastic. There are tons of people that only collect plastic. Don't get it twisted. Java Akuma. Yeah, you like cards? Name every card. Nice to see you, Kai. Hope things are going well down under. Have you been doing any other collection buys recently? I've had some small collection buys here and there coming in. Small Evo purchases still coming through. Nothing crazy. That $48,000 binder collection buy, that's been the biggest for quite a while. More often than not, when people approach me with especially like higher dollar amount things, I'd much rather consign for you than buy your cards, because I will give you more money. I will give you more money. It'll be slower, but I'll give you a fair bit more money if you just consign with me. Putting out all the capital up front, especially on graded cards, I think I'm going to be primarily done, aside from Gold and Heritage, PWCC, when they do an ill-advised collection lotted together that I can buy. But buying graded cards already to flip as graded cards, the margin's just not, like, I want to buy raw cards to grade and then flip. So most collection buys that I do will just be raw. Still, if you have, I mean, don't be afraid to shoot me an email. These are the graded cards I have. Most people want 80%. Oh, here's recent sold. Here's 80% I want. I'll consign them for you and give you 80% when they sell. But way too often people want, oh, here's $1,000 worth of recent solds. I'm thinking 750 or 800. No, like why? I'm not. Some people do. Like if you find a collector who needs those cards for their collection, that's a great deal. That's a great way. Hey, I save the fees selling them. You don't pay the sales, that all that good stuff. But as a business, I can't buy it 80%, sell it, pay 13% fees, and then make that 5-6%, risking all that money, especially if things trend down. It's just rare that buying a graded collection at 80% is going to happen from any kind of a business. Let's see. I'm getting way behind in chat. Retro says he was trolling about the Sitting Cuties, as I figured. Are alt arts comparable to gold stars? I mean, you can compare any two things, right? How comparable, how similar are they? Gold star pull rates were 1 out of 2 boxes, approximately. In the sets where there were 3 gold stars, that would be 1 per 72 packs for any gold star. So extending it out to one specific gold star, like Rayquaza from EX Deoxys versus the Latios or Latias, your odds would be 1 in 236, right? 1 in 70 or 1 in 206. Man, I'm all over the place. 1 in 216. Let's see if I can do math. So your odds of pulling Rayquaza Gold Star are 1 in 216. Your odds of pulling Moonbreon are something like 1 in 1,000, I think. I think there are some sets where there are less alt arts, and I think your odds are closer to 1 out of a few hundred. So by pull rates, yeah, they're kind of comparable. By art style, by like being the premier rarity tier of that era, they're comparable in that way. If this is like a future value, speculation, investment, whatever, I don't think so. I think they're different in a lot of ways that I don't think they'll pan out like that, personally. But yeah, pull rate, highest rarity tier, those considerations, they're pretty comparable. Stream is laggy like 20 FPS. I'm showing green right now. I did have a little bit of red earlier. Hopefully that's been resolved. 90 watching, 18 likes. Thank you, Brendan Baker. I see 22. So Brandon got 4 likes. Let's see if we can pump the likes up in the chat. See how many we get. Right now we're at 23 as I say that. Why would I collect Sitting Cuties if they don't even grade them? See, I mentioned it earlier. Somebody said people collect cards, not plastic. Swag Daddy's only collecting that plastic around Sitting Cuties. I would love it if they started grading Sitting Cuties. That'd be hilarious. It'd be a little scary though. Like maybe this is the beginning of the end for the grading Super Bubble if they start grading Sitting Cuties. Yeah, I'm not an air guy at all, Ray. I mean, I get it to an extent. It's a little bit more elusive of these mass-produced things. It's something that snuck out of the factory that they quality control. They would have caught it if they could have. Mr. Walrus is finding out what year it is. Danazard TCG. Hey Dan, I recently did my first PSA sub and managed to get a low pop Expedition Reverse Hollow in a 10. How would you go about finding the right buyer for a card like that? I would do high-ish list price, not like completely unreasonable, but I actually have a fair few consigned Expedition Reverse Hollows and PSA 10 on my eBay. I would price it high and then accept offers, or just price it high, don't accept offers. If people are really interested, they'll message you, and then if they send you an offer that you would take, I mean, you take it. If there's no comps, that's fine. Like, just price it at what you're willing to take and go from there. If you've got a Pop 7 and it's a Weedle and there's no data for it, nothing out there, but there's a Caterpie in the same set that's also Pop 8 and that recently sold, or similarly Pop 8, you can kind of, I've had this question come up quite a bit. How do you price something that's so scarce? You find the closest analog you can, and then you make adjustments from there. And if at the end of the day, if that number seems too low to you, keep it. Like if you value it more than the market does, keep it. If that number, or you can just try pricing it higher and see what happens. There might be a Weedle collector out there who just has to have it, who pays the full ask or something. I quit my job too, and by quit I mean watch YouTube all day and collect a paycheck bi-weekly. Is it better to keep the PSA 9 wondering if it's a 10 or crack and regrade? If it's going to grade a 10, it's better to crack and regrade it. If it's going to grade an 8 or a 9, keep it as a 9. Don't quit your job for Pokemon people. Do mediocre work until you're terminated. Mr. Walrus is on the quiet quitting grind, sounds like, if you can call it a grind. How will $19 grading impact the amount you submit to PSA? How much do you think it should impact the average eBay seller? $4 is not make or break on a lot of cards that I grade. Some cards it absolutely is. Some cards every dollar counts. I would not be surprised if PSA is back with $15 special on January 1st. If they were to announce, hey, 15 is still around, that's the current special. We weren't getting rid of it. We just announced that they raised 18 to 19, and I think a lot of people reacted like, oh my god, I can't believe whatever. But I've mentioned it before. I actually decided I'm not sending any more out. Like I had 180 cards just come back from PSA, 180 just come back from CGC. I have 1,100 inbound from 2020. I have tracking, but they still haven't shipped it. My last Ludkin submission of 2020. But yeah, I have so much to list that there's no sense me putting out more. I'm gonna wait till 12. I'm gonna wait till 12 or 13, and I think we'll get that by Q1 sometime. And when that comes, I'll have a few hundred to send at 12. I'll have hundreds more to send at 10 if and when we get 10. And if not, I'll just send out 200 cards a month, 100 to 200 cards a month as I see fit, assuming the pricing is there. But yeah, it's all about your margins. It's all about how you value your time. How many cards can you photograph in an hour? How many cards can you list in an hour? How much money do you need to profit to make it make sense? And yeah, from that, backtrack, figure out what you can pay for grading. Why are alt arts from Sword and Shield so popular compared to the Sun and Moon ones? Recency bias? Absolutely. Hype, ultra modern is where hype lives. That's just the fact of the matter. It's always going to be where peak hype lives. Well, I don't know if I should say that. It will most likely be where maximum hype lives. Someday, if Pokemon actually starts to fail, if the end of Pokemon happens in our lifetimes, there will probably be some time where like right now in Magic, I guess, there's a lot of hopefully we never get there, but it could plausibly happen. So as of right now, I would just say we're at peak hype is ultra modern, and that's generally going to be the thing. I mean, the old vintage is always going to be vintage. Ultra modern will always be ultra modern, but ultra modern is ever changing. Ultra modern only goes back about a year or two. So yeah, it's too old. People don't care as much. 2 years from now, I mean, this might be blasphemous. People won't care as much about Moonbreon in 2 years because there will be something shinier and better. And PokeRev will be ripping something new. Everyone will be ripping something new and chasing something new, building their master sets, and Moonbreon just won't matter as much. Do you plan to invest heavily in MetaZoo in 2023? I'm going to continue buying my partner allocation as I have. I wouldn't call what I'm doing investing. I would call what I'm doing supporting and believing in the game, speculating on the game, carrying it in my business, transacting in it, flipping it. I will flip and transact in MetaZoo the same way in 2023 as I did in 2022. It's gone well. I'm sure you have good contacts in the TCG. Tell them to make special set at the end of every generation with all current existing Pokemon in Pokédex order. That would be cool. I don't have any contacts. I don't know anybody. Nobody knows me. Compared to the Sun and Moon alt arts being older and being printed less, the price is low compared to the Sword and Shield ones. IMO. The S&P 500 isn't as fun as opening a box. Yeah, like people constantly say the stock market's boring and this and that. I think being, which to be, I was gonna make kind of a joke about financial security is not boring, but it kind of is. Like it's probably a much more exciting life to be paycheck to paycheck. Exciting in a bad way, like has you at high alert, has you on the edge of your seat, has you constantly engaged and thinking, and how am I gonna like afford my next bill? How am I gonna keep my lights turned on? That's probably a fairly exciting life, but it's not one I want to live. So yeah, you can't grade the S&P. That's a fail in my book. Kelly Sweeper, have you recently received any PSA returns that didn't have upcharges when they should have? My most recent one had many PSA 9 first edition holos like Shining Magikarp and no upcharges. Absolutely. I've had cards that are $300 get upcharged, as they should, technically. $199 is the limit. And then I've had cards that are $3,000 not get upcharged. PSA is PSA when it comes to managing upcharges. Beta Investments, Precious Collector card, wondering if he's going to be upcharged. Flip a coin. I don't know what to tell you. No upcharges for Walrus on Top Sun 10s. Thoughts on collecting PSA 8s? They're very cheap compared to 9s and 10s, of course. A PSA 8 looks very good and has very small imperfections. Most of that is on the back of the card anyways. Yeah, I started out as a PSA 9 collector because that's where I found the best value. If I were to be a graded card collector today, and I had to pick a singular grade, I would probably pick PSA 8s that look as close to pack fresh as possible, that have most of the issues on the back. But personally, I'm only going to collect cards that are super cheap that I just like. One thing you run into with PSA 8s, I don't like 8s for I don't like any of them for investment potential long term. 8s even worse though. These things are mass printed to the moon and back. Hundreds of thousands of copies. 8 pops are just going to go up forever. Like 10s at least, you got to play the PSA Lotto. Are they going to overlook? Like there are so many eras of Pokemon where 10s were almost never produced. And a lot of the 10s that are graded are just 9s that got lucky. 8s though, there's never been an era in Pokemon where cards were lower than 8s out of the pack. Like very infrequently you could have one that was like creased somehow. But 99.9% of set cards were produced at PSA 8 level. And there's just so many out there. Like, point to any set card, PSA 8s, that pop, if there's financial incentive, that pop is going to go nuts. Like, another consideration, though, if you can get the 8 for less than you can get a raw card, less than you can get a raw near mint card, okay. Like, if you're buying it for cheaper than raw, I get it. But if you're paying any kind of a premium over raw for a PSA 8, I just don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. How's it going, Skater Nesto? The thumbnail goat in the chat. Yeah, like one of the best values out there to me, and I've mentioned this before, PSA 6s. PSA 6s that are just have a minor dent, have a minor curled corner that's not even a dent, that's just from production. Masaki Mark PSA 6s. Those are one of the best values out there, in my opinion. If they release OSRS TCG, Old School RuneScape, for anyone unaware, how much dollars are you going to put into it? I will be taking out a second mortgage personally. Oh, quad shot. It's absolutely speculation, just theoretically talking. We talk about in Discord, Patreon link in the description below if you want to join the Discord, the Pokenomics Discord. But yeah, we talk about Old School RuneScape periodically, and that's come up a couple times. I would put a bunch into it just for fun. If I had distributor access to it wholesale, I would take a ton of it. If I had to buy it on the secondary market, I would have to buy some, but I would not go crazy. Maybe a couple grand. I'd have to see what it was priced at, what the product actually looked like. The better it looked, the more I'd be willing to put in, obviously. But let's see. What's your collection goals of 2023? More trophy cards, master sets, etc. My personal collection, honestly, like I don't think many new cards will be added to my personal collection. Ideal personal collection cards for me are like these ones behind me. In that Bigfoot up there. Cards that like aren't worth a ton of money. That just like these are $40 cards, not even. They just make me smile. I love them. Squirtle Squad Squirtle, Griddle Greaser Pete. I have the Charizard that I pulled in Vegas. That's a PC card. I have the Charizard I pulled on the live stream with PK and all those guys. That's a PC card. I want to own a Mew Orb. I want to own a Pika Ring. I want to own original Japanese trophies. I want to own Miracle Diamond, Wonder Platinum, Master's Key. But they will not be like collection items. They will be, I need to buy them right. They're going to be listed for sale. They're going to be flips. I would love to have those in my inventory and or consign them. So collection goals, I want to go to 3 conventions minimum. I'm going to Orlando. I want to go to Dallas, and I want to collect a memento from each minimum. I want to open in some pack. I want to have some card that I can look at and think back. Like, yeah, that was Collecticon. I got to meet this guy. Like, I got to meet these people. I ripped that pack. I want to collect stuff like that. That's all I really want to add to my collection going forward. Things that are more tied to memories. Because I've done English set cards were all my goals when I first got in, and those have been achieved. All the trophy Pikas were a goal, and those have been achieved. There's too much out there to own it all at any point, so I'm basically selling everything that doesn't have a memory tied to it specifically, and keeping it going from there. Do you think Metazu or One Piece TCG will be more successful? I don't know anything about One Piece. It's an anime that's quite popular as far as I understand. Metazu is no backing, no, like, I think One Piece is like decades of anime. I think like 1,000 episodes, if I remember correctly from when I Googled it quickly. So I would think that One Piece is probably already doing larger print runs out of the gate just because they have that IP, they have that attachment, they have more momentum going into it. But I don't know what you deem success. Do you deem success higher print runs in 2023? Do you deem success which one might be around in 5 years? I think it's relatively likely that either one of them could cease to be around in 10 years or something. But I wouldn't put it past either of them to be around in 10 years. I don't know. I can't really speculate as to which one might be more likely to be around in 10 years. But yeah, just some thoughts. The Plain Bagel. I do watch The Plain Bagel occasionally. To quote a financial advisor I know, great investing isn't sexy. The Plain Bagel. Being rich is boring. Dan, 2022. Oh, God. Oh, man. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, living to paycheck must be an exciting life. Dan, I think you're forgetting the meaning of the word exciting. I think I'm thinking there's definitely a definition of excited to be like an elevated state, to be like, think of an electron. Go back to your chemistry class. Think of an excited electron being at an elevated state. I think that applies to being at like an elevated emotional state, not like positive excitement, but like negative excitement, being at an elevated state, having to actively think about, whereas it's kind of boring, set it and forget it. Like when you have all your money doing everything it's supposed to do and all your bills are just on auto pay and there's no concern. It's like, it's a more boring, laid back, natural state. Whereas the paycheck to paycheck is an excited state. That's getting really, really out there with my terminology and semantics. But okay, I see Pokeknowledge cards in chat. I've not fully caught up, but since I see his name, I'm gonna reveal our cards. Thanks for joining us, PK. Let's see. Let's see how we did. I did see a couple of these, PK. I will say that I did see a couple. I tried not to look at any of them, but PSA doesn't put the cards back in order. So when I was like getting all of our cards out, but yeah, let's go through it. This is for anyone who is unaware. I was selling base set Japanese starter decks at Denver for $400 a piece. A little under 400 for people who paid cash. PK paid me $200 and we decided to split it. So I'm going to have to get a spreadsheet going. We each own half of this. I graded this many cards times, I think I did these, yeah, at 15. So I'm going to have to figure out like how much he's into the grading fees. He's not going to pay me for them, but as I sell them, I'm just going to have subtracted out. Anyways, though, we got the 9. We got the 9 on Magneton. Nothing too crazy there. I have no idea. We got a nice swirl. I'll make sure to put that in the title when I sell it. But we got a nice PSA 9 Magneton. I didn't grade every card. I didn't grade all the energies. I didn't grade all the trainers. but I graded pretty much all the species because they were in pretty good shape. Right into a 10 Magnemite. So we've already got our first PSA 10. I'll create a stack for the 10, create a stack for the 9s. Hopefully we won't have any 8s or less. But yeah, let's see which stack grows larger. PSA 9 Onyx. Let me just look up one of these quick. I've sold some of these in PSA 10 and 9 recently. If I had to guess, they have probably come down some. But I wouldn't think this is a money loser. Hopefully not. Let's see what the low list... Buy it now. Lowest first. The low list Japanese, $40. Low list of this is $40. Let's see what the recent sold is in auction. There was an auction that went for $25. So if we auctioned it, we would probably break even. But I think if I listed it like $35, we'll net like $10 out of that. We'll net $10 or so towards trying to get our $400 back. There's a PSA 9 Voltorb. If I had to guess, it's probably the same story. I'd love to see more PSA 10s, but we got a PSA 9 Caterpie, PSA 9 Poliwag. Hopefully John is still with us. Oh, there we go. PSA 10 Pidgey. Big money, no whammies. So we got 2 PSA 10s. We got a PSA 9 Machop, PSA 9 Rattata, Drowsy, Starmie. We're getting hit with the 9s real hard. Let's see if we can get saved. If you figure it though, if each one of these 9s is $5 to $10 profit, all said and done, I mean, that would be like $50. And then if the 10s can be 50 to 100 each, somewhere in there, which if I had to guess, they probably are. I'll look up the 10s soon. We're getting clobbered with the 9s. Okay, there we go. There's a big one. Charmander. If I had to guess, that's probably right around $100. Charmeleon, PSA 10 as well. Ivysaur. So it looks like I put the starters at the end, and then PSA 9 Bulbasaur. If I had to guess, for $400 cost basis, we're probably in good shape. We'll probably make money. Hopefully we get all our money back and then some. Let me eBay search one of these quick. PSA 10 Pidgey Japanese base. Wow, so one went for $36 at auction. I'm not going to auction these. ZNG Emporium. Shout out ZNG Emporium consignment. So let's see how his consignment did. $36 with shipping. And let's see what the recent, or let's see, low list. Oh, I put PSA. Let me see. Low list is $190. Low list is $190 of the Pidgey. Recent sold is ZNG Emporium for $36 with shipping. And there were 2 best offers accepted in November. Let me pull up 130 point. We might have to roast auctions for a little bit here. I did just do the video recently. But like, to me, this is why I do buy it nows and not auctions. The most recent Pidgey PSA 10 sold for, and I'll make a video documenting this, $100. So James auctioned one for $36. Only like 2-3 weeks prior, one sold for $100. I'd be shocked if I couldn't get at least 80, if not 100 for this, especially given that the low list is $190. So I'm probably going to list each one of these somewhere between 80 and 120-ish. And I think that these 5 PSA 10s alone will probably make us break even. And then the PSA 9 Magneton, I don't know what that goes for exactly. I think we'll make money here. I think we'll surely make money with only 5 PSA 10s and the remainder PSA 9s. I will get a spreadsheet going. I don't think I'll make a standalone video for that, but I will. I'll make a spreadsheet and I'll probably show it in a live stream. Anyways, let me get back to chat. See where we're at. But yeah, I think we made money, PK. Yeah, these are not auction plays at all. It could always be worse. Could have been a CGC 9. I see PK's in the chat, so glad he was here for it. I was gonna try to hold out until I saw him in the chat, in case he came in the chat. I'm only going for another 30 minutes though. I don't really have, that was like the one thing I wanted to show off. I'll get those listed probably by Friday, PK, and then hopefully we'll be swimming in money by the weekend. We'll see where it goes. But if I had to guess, it'll probably be a little bit of slow selling, low list buy it nows. But Good stuff. Dan's a binder Chad now. PSA is so inconsistent between 8s and 9s sometimes. I have some mint 8s. There's such huge overlap between 8s and 9s, 9 and 10s. The borderline of every, like, the grade, there's 10 discrete grades, and PSA has to put every card into one of those buckets. If you give them one card 100 times, it's never going to go in the same bucket 100 times in a row. And there's just a huge value difference between these two buckets. And yeah, I personally, I sell graded cards. I don't buy them too often. Let me catch up with the chat. I would say 8s for rare cards personally. Yeah, rare cards, like not set cards, in my opinion. Raw is often 6 to 7 on TCG Player. If you're buying vintage cards, probably. If you're buying brand new release sets, they're almost always going to be 8s and ups, in my opinion. Would you say grabbing some older cheap CGC 8.5s to regrade is worth it? No, generally. If they're super clean, one-off here and there, absolutely. Doing it in bulk, look at my recent videos. Look at my slab optimization fail. How many more years are people going to ask the same questions? Forever. 20 years I'll be answering these same questions, I'm sure. Dan, how much dollars do you spend on beard products? Don't lie either. 0. If and when, I've had multiple people ask me, what kind of oils, what kind of, I don't even know what you do with beards, but I'm not doing any of it. I'm not going to do any of it. My hair, my total upkeep cost on my hair for the past decade has been $35. I'm actually going to cut my hair tonight. I cut my hair, and then my wife takes care of the sides and the backs. Like, the reason I've got to cut it is because it's like growing too long in the back. It's growing over my ears. It annoys me. I take a wall trimmer that I paid $35 for a decade ago. I run over it with a 2/4 inch, and that's it. And then my wife does the around the ears and the back. And that's my total upkeep on my hair. My beard, I used to shave once a week because I had to for work, because I had to wear a respirator. I'm less growing a beard, and I'm more just not shaving because it's easier. Plus it's winter and I have to stand outside in the cold a decent amount, and the beard is nice for that. But yeah, no oils, no nothing. If and when it feels like it needs it, it's gonna be gone. Or I'll just do the same. Maybe every time I do my hair, I'll just trim this down too. I don't really know. As of right now, I just want to grow it for as long as I can without doing anything, and seeing what I need to do when I need to do it. But for now, I've not done much. What questions should we ask Rusky tomorrow? Anything off limits? I think Rusty's pretty much an open book. I am going to be the one choosing what goes on the screen. I mean, if anyone asks anything disrespectful or unreasonable, I won't pop it up on the screen. But as far as if you ask something about Pokemon, I'll pop it up on the screen. Nick and I'll answer it. We answer just about anything. And then if he wants to not touch on something, if he can't touch on something, then he won't. I mean, yeah, same way we go with every Pokeflips. Do you like Gold Stars or Alt Arts better for investment? I don't like either, but if I had to pick one, I would like Gold Stars a lot better. They are more historic, in my opinion. They are older with more attrition. They weren't graded en masse out of the gate, so there's not like thousands and thousands that are all perfectly protected. Still, the print runs are massive, though. The print runs are tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands for the chase cards, and they're still set cards. So if I had to pick one, I would rather have money in Gold Stars than Alt Arts. Imagine a gold secret rare item card, Abyssal Whip. Yeah, that would be awesome. Let's see. If he actually answers my question, I'm going to lose it. Well, I did, so. Mount Coronet from Hidden Fates reminds me of White Wolf Mountain. I think I should hide user on this channel because this looks like some kind of a bot. Who needs money? Unwanted content or spam. There we go. I got rid of that guy who was asking who needed money. Sell them all collectibles. Team Rocket, Lieutenant. One Piece is one of the biggest animes of all time. PK is here. One Piece started in 97. I'm pretty sure it's been ranked #1 in search results since 2012. Yeah, that sounds huge. That sounds like it has a massive following. How much of that translates to cards though? Like, it's not a certainty. I think one thing people get too caught up on at times is this thing is huge, so its cards have to be worth a ton. I think over the years, over the decades, over history, I think there's a lot of big IPs that have made cards that haven't done anything. I think in the 90s, all the junk wax era, there were Simpsons cards, like PK. PK in the chat is one of the guys who he's mentioned many times, he buys a one-off box of all these different things, all these different failed, dead, TCGs, CCGs, whatever, from long, long ago. And I think that'll be a trend into eternity. I think there'll be big IPs that come out and stonk to some extent. I don't know what these sets did back then. I don't know if Simpsons stonked for a while. But yeah, I think just because it has a big IP doesn't mean it needs to exist as a card game. But I wouldn't put it past its ability to. I mean, look at Naruto. Naruto is a huge anime, right? Naruto is probably top 5 if I had to guess. I mean, I've heard of it, so it's got to be up there. Look at DBZ Score. That was a thing for a while, and then why did it cease to exist? I don't really know. But DBZ happened and then died. Naruto happened and then died. DBZ is back with DB Super. But yeah, I think it's a little dangerous to just assume One Piece, big anime, guaranteed stonks. Let me put all my money into it. That's dangerous because it could fail. I think Mason has talked about, I watched his one video, or I listened to his one video about it. I forget who the manufacturer is, but I could be mixing this up. I hope I'm not, but I could be. Is the manufacturer of the One Piece one somebody who's had like a shaky history with TCGs? Or maybe I'm conflating two things. I'm not positive. But yeah, like success is defined as which one makes me more money. Definitely dangerous to just assume, oh, it's the biggest anime of all time. That means it's going to make me millions of dollars. Very dangerous. Do you deal in any of the smaller TCGs like Final Fantasy or Dragon Ball Super? I did buy a massive $48,000 binder collection that was half Pokemon, half non-Pokemon. The biggest portion of non-Pokemon that it was Dragon Ball Super and Naruto. So I do have some of those. I wouldn't say I necessarily deal in them or will continue to deal in them heavily, but I will deal in them to the extent of selling off this collection at a minimum. I did watch Jake's top 75 cards. My top 75 cards. I wouldn't be able to do 75. I don't think I could do top 75 items in my inventory. I would have to do like top 10 of my collection. Maybe I'll do that at some point. Maybe I'll do that to round out the year. Similarly, I don't know, but mine are gonna be like more boring. Mine are not not boring to me. More boring to people. Like more stories behind them. They're gonna be, oh, this is a PSA 8 Shadowless Charizard. Who cares? Like, I've owned 9s. Some people own 10s. Whatever. Jake actually showed off a PSA 9. I used to have a PSA 9 Shadowless Charizard. It went too high and I sold it because I didn't believe in the price of it. And I didn't agree, like, the market valued it more than I did. So I sold it, and I upgraded. I upgraded my PSA 9 to a PSA 8 that I pulled. And to me, it's worth way more money. The market values it less. Win-win. Like, I get more money out of my 9. I keep my 8 forever. Same as my PSA 9 base set unlimited Charizard. I'm going to keep that one forever, the one I pulled in PK stream. Because that one I'm tied to. I have a memory around it. Are they all OC or just an angry grader? I didn't even look too closely. Slightly OC. The border was thick on the right, but like anything else, I mean, some of these 10s, the borders are a little bit thick on the right too. I'm sure there's a white dot here or there, surface issue here or there. I didn't look too close. I generally, aside from my earlier this summer, one time cracking 300 cards to optimize, aside from that, I really don't crack many cards. I really don't look that close at cards. I pre-grade them. If they look like a 9-ish or higher, I send them, and then I sell them when I get them back in. Yeah, the starters are really gonna carry the weight there. The biggest commons hit. Definitely not auctions. Don't send these ones to Z&G Emporium consignments, but there are cards worth auctioning at times. Check out my video Monday if you want to know when to auction, when to buy it now. There we go. DNA's got a great business idea. List the Pidgey for $150, let it sit 16 months, and then auction it and sell it for $19.68. Big strats. I absolutely have some eBay inventory. Just this morning, I went through all my listings. I think I had 400 listings that were over a year old, and I sent 50. No. It was 100 listings that were over a year old, and then 300 more that were over 6 months old. So everything 6 months or older, if it was between 6 months and a year, I sent 20%. If it was a year and older, I sent like 40 or 50% offers. And yeah, I just want to move. I need to get better about just moving stuff, not letting it sit for years and years as the price goes down. Don't you think it's better to grade with CGC and shoot for the 9.5 because PSA 9s barely break even? I think a lot of the PSA 9s would end up as CGC 9s. I think some of the PSA 10s would have happened as CGC 9.5. So overall, I think CGC would have been worse than PSA. But is there one or two PSA 9s in here that could have been CGC 9.5s? Absolutely. I just didn't get like that fine into the details. The 9s will make... Some of the 9s will make $5 or $10 probably. Some of the 9s might just break even, which is fine. But the 10s will get us into the profit overall. And then the Magneton, surely. We'll definitely make a little bit of money. Go smoothhead with a beard, take the plunge. I wouldn't be able to keep up. Like whatever happens up here, I'm gonna let it happen. Like I'm not gonna shave my head. I didn't like shaving my face once a week. There's no way I'm gonna shave my head every day. Like I have friends and I've known people who shave their head every day, every other day. I can't do that. That's way too much work. No way. Low maintenance. I need low maintenance. I don't have anyone to impress. I already used my master ball and locked down the wife. So if I was going half and half with someone else on a Pokemon purchase, I think I would have to auction. No way I'm dealing with that over the course of 6 to 12 months or however long it takes to sell. I think what I'm going to do, like, I don't think PK is like hurting to get that money back that soon. Once I get them all photographed and listed, I'll make a spreadsheet and I'll quickly calculate what we expect to get. And presumably we're going to profit. I think what I'm going to do, and if PK is still here, he can let me know if this is fine in chat. I think I'm just going to send him back his $200 like up front, cuz we're going to make our money back for sure. And once we get to where my 200 is paid back and then all the grading fees, how many did I grade? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I graded 20. I graded 20. We need $700 essentially to break even, approximately. So I guess once we hit 700, then I'll send John his 200. Which could be a few months. Again, I don't think he's hurting for it. It was kind of like a fun thing we did. Not really like a big trying to stonk. I mean, if we hit the Charizard and hit a 10, we could have made a lot of money. But at the end of the day, like we knew our downside was low and there was some upside there. So it was just a fun little experiment to do. Since you got the beard, do you find it easier to tame wild horses? No wild horses around me that I'm aware of. Dan missed a Santa cosplay opportunity. Now we have to wait till next year. I thought about it. I thought about getting some of that beard paint, going all in. I didn't end up doing it. Are you a handyman? I'm fairly handy, I would say. I know how to do some electrical. I fixed my furnace a couple weeks ago. I put a new igniter in when that failed. I can put in appliances myself. I've done some plumbing. I've done some light carpentry, things like that. Let's see. What are your goals for 2023? Collab with Umu, collab with Rudy, collab with Pokerev. Umu made a couple of videos on me. I think that's the first time I've had another YouTuber, if he's a YouTuber, I don't know. I don't know if that's his full-time thing. First time I've been talked about to such great lengths in another video. I'm constantly, I constantly hear like James and James reference me, other people in the Poke space reference me, but not like do a whole live stream or a video about me. That was kind of funny to see. If Rudy or Pokerev ever wanted to collaborate in any way, I would. I doubt they do, though. Oh, man. Punk Lee, how's it going? My day is going well. If Naruto TCG came out today again, it would go dummy. If anything comes out today, it's going to go dummy, but a lot of the things that go dummy are ultimately going to fail, in my opinion. It's we're in this weird space where like everything that comes out, everyone just investing, stonking, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous when every time everything comes out and everyone's thinking money, that's bubble-like behavior. That's when things get dangerous. This whole like Lorcana, there are so many IPs out there. If everyone just launches a game in the next 2 years, which it seems like they might be, they're not all gonna survive. There's not gonna be enough people in the space to make them all live, and which ones will and which ones won't, I have no idea. But yeah, do we have any popular trading cards that aren't games that are successful that aren't sports cards? I have no idea. No idea. One Piece TCG is Bandai. I think Marvel is just a CCG, not a TCG. I don't think there's any game there, right? Dan's top 75 times PSA 9 Gold Star Greninjas. Oh, Mason was talking about the company behind Lorcana. I absolutely could have mixed up Lorcana and One Piece for sure. What's your opinion of the Arceus UPC, and did you open any for peace sale? I did open one. I think it was last week's live stream. I really like the metal cards. So I'm probably going to keep like a set of the metal cards. Every metal card they create, I'm going to just keep for myself personally. I really like them. But other than that, I don't like buying. I had to buy it through GameStop. I had to pay the full amount. I don't like. I bought like 5 because I thought they were interesting. I probably shouldn't have bought as many as I did. We got a talking seagull in here with no wrenches. I gotta hide this user. But yeah, I think it's a cool product. Future value speculation, I'm not gonna really do that, but whether or not they grade the metal cards, I don't really personally care. I'm just gonna keep like a binder of them or whatever. Do you think Crown Zenith will be a more popular set than Hidden Fates? I think at the time Crown Zenith comes out, it will be obviously way more hype, way more popular in the time. Will it be more popular than Hidden Fates was in its own time? Probably not, because Hidden Fates was released during a way more stonky bubble type time. But we're still pretty stonky right now, so it'll probably be popular. 10 years from now, will it be more popular? Will it go down in history as being bigger, better, whatever? Possibly. I have no idea. It's hard to say. I've said before, and I was probably fairly wrong when I said I think Hidden Fates will go down as one of the more historic sets from the mid-Lost eras, the mid, like, everything stonking. That might not be right, though. It was the first shiny vault set. I thought it was fairly historic, fairly cool, but they're constantly doing, like, all these different shiny, flashy, cool things. Hidden Fates might just be forgotten about in 20 years. Who knows? Maybe Evolving Skies will stand out more. Maybe Crown Zenith will stand out more. I have no idea. No idea. Are you constantly looking for projects to spreadsheet? Drop the Coke sponsors and get Excel on board. Yeah, Microsoft, hit me up. I do a lot of spreadsheets for sure. Rev on Pokeflips, he doesn't flip. He doesn't flip Pokemon the same way as much now. One thing I would love to, like, personally, if I could have Rev for on a couple-hour live stream, I would get into his past. When I was ripping jungle fossil boxes and grading them, he was doing it 10 to 100 times bigger and better. I would love to get into, like, him back in 2016 to 2018 when he was ripping product like a madman. He started, like, pre-YouTube channel. I actually met him. I met him very briefly at 2019 Worlds, I think it was, in DC, like a month or two before he started his channel. So like he would have a lot to contribute, I think, to PokeFlips. I would love to have him on someday, and we've never reached out, but I intended to at some point. You got to shoot your shot, right? We shot our shot with Rusty, and he's on tomorrow. But yeah, I'll definitely hit him up at some point. We have a lot of people we still want to get on. We only do one a month. I think we have at least a few people kind of planned out for early 2023. But at some point, we'll give him a try and see if he'll come on. Maybe sometime we'll have the Poke Cave featured on here. Yeah, he's killing it. Obviously, the YouTube side, not so much flipping side, but still clearly very business-minded, driven individual who would just have. He has so much experience, so much history. He would have a ton to contribute, and I would have so many questions. Just like any of these guys. I would love to have him on and ask these questions. Mr. Waller says who? Yeah, he might hit 3 million subs in 2023. Absolutely could happen. Who knows? I fully caught up with chat. I'm going to be going for like 10 more minutes. If you've got any more questions, feel free to leave them. One thing I wanted to show that I thought was really cool, and 2 items that will absolutely be joining my personal collection of items I will never sell. Check these out. These are custom cards that my son created. I did not tell him, hey, make some Pokemon cards. Like when I was younger, I invented some Pokemon. I had one of those composition notebooks, and I remember specifically drawing a card, drawing a Pokemon, naming it. I don't have those composition notebooks anymore. I don't remember the names. I remembered I like ghost types quite a bit. I like Gengar, Haunter, those guys. I know I created one ghost type. I can't think of the name. I wish I still had them though. These like my son has hundreds of cards. We did the whole advent calendar thing for December. I loved it. PK's been doing the advent calendar on his channel every day with shorts. My son loves cards. He comes over to me. He shows me 2 cards. Like who's gonna win? He knows how to look. Like I have a couple random cards. Like he'll come to me. Okay, we got who's this one? Who's this? He knows Eevee. He wouldn't know Timple, so I'd say Timple. And I showed him. I showed him hit points are here. Here's how much their attacks do in damage. Here's how much energy they need. And he talks about all the energy beams, and he talks about how much damage and how much hit points. And he's like, who would win? Who would win? And I've gotten him to where he comes to me and I ask him who would win. Most times he gets it right. He's like, oh, well, they have the same hit points, and this guy does more damage, so he'd probably win. But then I took him to the next step, and I said, oh, well, his attack takes 2 energy, and his attack takes 1 energy. So not always will it just be the one who does the most damage would win. Sometimes you have to get deeper about like how much energy does it take, especially some Charizards that take like 5 energies to do an attack. But yeah, he on his own, he's got tons of these pads of paper that come from the collector's chest. That's all these are on the back. He took some stickers from the collector chest. He popped them on there. And I mean, the Charizard he created is a little bit of a glass cannon. He only has 10 hit points, but he does 100 damage. He didn't draw any energy symbols, so I guess these are free attacks that they don't need energy for. But yeah, Pikachu VMAX, only 20 hit points, only 10 damage. He's made of glass, but he's not a cannon at all. He doesn't do much. But yeah, like seeing how excited he was to make these and show me them, and how often he's excited to bring me 2 random cards. Like I've taught him about the whole weakness resistance thing too. So sometimes he'll come to me. Let me find one. Like here's a Torterra. Here's a Golett. Oh well, Dad, this one's weak to Leaf. This one's weak to that one, and he only has 100 hit points, and he has 190, and his does take 2 energy. He calls them energy beams. So he said his takes 2 energy beams, but it does 50. So he's like, I'm pretty sure this guy will win. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's so funny to like see him. He started out like asking the names. He started out wanting to learn the types, and he's got the types down. He has a ton of the species down. And now he's getting the hit points, and he's getting the energy costs, and he's getting the weaknesses. And I think at some point, honestly, I think at some point in the next few years, I'm going to be playing the card game with him. I think he's going to get into it. I'm not going to force him into it. I'm not going to like make him do it, but it'll be really interesting just to interact with the hobby in a different way and see the playing side maybe. And maybe who knows, maybe I steer my business in that direction a little bit more. Maybe I steer a little bit of my content more in that direction. Because I'm really excited for what the future can bring, their involvement in my passion. Maybe it'll be a shared passion, and I really look forward to that. So, let's see. Yeah, maybe I should send PokeRev a mystery box. I could put one together so easily. I've never reached out to anyone like that. Are those cards tournament legal? I don't believe so. He didn't put the code on the bottom for what their rotation set is, but yeah, these are definitely gonna go. I'm actually gonna get I'm gonna get some kind of binder pages so I can put them right in my childhood binder. I wish I had the cards that I created, but these are the first edition. These are the alpha run of the first cards he's ever created. So really cool to see. He did make me. Originally, these got lost for a few days. He has so many crafts. He does so many drawings, so many things he does. They got lost for a few days, so he made me some more. Somewhere I have like the second edition ones, but these ones were the first ones he ever made, so they're the most special to me. But yeah, I'm just gonna catch up with chat over the next few minutes, and then I'm going to call it a day. About 5 more minutes. Let's see. Don't go to bed too late, Dan. You have a big day coming up tomorrow. Yeah, big live stream. I'll make sure I'm well rested for it. I used to just cut up cards and glue different mons and moves to them to create new cards. What do you think about the KFC promos? Will they be a niche in the hobby? They're definitely niche. I think they're interesting. They're neat. If you like KFC, it's cool to get a promo. If that's a future value question, no idea. No crystal ball. Dan's son gonna be running the whole Pokemon market in the 2040s. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Kids, they change every other week what they want to be when they grow up. But he's definitely a couple times mentioned something along the lines of like, "Oh, I wanna open Pokemon cards and Metazoo cards and sell them like you do." It'll be interesting to see if he goes down that route. But in the coming years, like I mean, I can get him involved in the business and helping me do it and see if he likes it. If he likes it, absolutely could be a thing. I wish I had that composition notebook. I have some composition notebooks from when I was younger, and I flipped through every page. I specifically remember where I kept it in my house and making a few different cards. I don't have it anymore. I'm surprised this isn't behind a paywall. My son's 4. So yeah, these are his first artworks of Pokemon card creation at the age of 4. Great thing to bond over, absolutely. Wholesome. Origin story to getting his son to win worlds. That would be amazing. If and when he ever won, I would like those would be the cards. Like it's very, very hard. Like I can see why people sell their trophies, and I'm glad. Like I was glad I was able to buy the trophy Pikachu's I did. But if he ever won one, and if it was in my ability financially, like if the market runs away, if those things ever get stupid, and he wanted to sell them, I would let him. Say he won worlds. I'm talking about this theoretical world where my son wins worlds and he's thinking about selling his card. I would try to talk him out of it. And if I couldn't, I would just like pay him highest absolute market rate, some unreasonable number if I could afford to. And I would keep it for him. I would try to not let that go because those are the most important cards to me, the cards I have a tie to. And if my son ever won worlds and won a #1 Pikachu, I would absolutely not want to let that go. But at the end of the day, like he could keep the physical trophy, he would still have all the memories, he could keep his deck for a much lower cost. So I get why people sell their trophies. Some people don't get it at all. But yeah. I'm gonna wrap up soon. Castle Strong says, I got my 5-year-old nephew some packs for Christmas. He pulled the full art Giratina and then looks at me dead in my eye and says, I hate Pokemon. Oh man. That's crazy. Chris Gates found the cards he made as a kid. Oh, he didn't cut these out. These were just stickers. This Charizard and Pikachu, these were stickers from one of the old collector chest tins. So he had a sheet of paper, he had a sticker, and then he drew the attack and hit points on it. How's it going, Echo? I'm ending like right now. Sorry to end it when you came in, but yeah, Echo's here, so we gotta end. Mr. Wara said Dan would lowball his son and flip it. Classic. Thoughts on prototype cards, future like 4-position only match print trainer deck? I'm not a huge fan of them. I'm a huge fan of these ones because I have a nostalgic tie to it. I have a very, very emotional tie to these cards specifically. But overall, like I'm not a huge fan personally. But yeah. If those world cards hit a 10, Dan's flipping them at market price. Yeah. I appreciate everyone hanging out. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Fun to hang out here for just an hour and a half today. I hope everyone has a happy, safe New Year as well. That's going to be this weekend. So my normal content schedule is going to go into 2023 and ahead. I'm going to do videos every Monday. I'm going to do a live stream every Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to link again. Most people here are probably already subscribed. But Pokeflips, tomorrow, we're going to have Rusty, TCA Gaming. So definitely ring the bell, do all the good stuff so that you get notified. Come hang out and chat tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. I don't know that Rusty can stay for the whole duration. Nick and I usually go 3.5 hours till 4:30. But yeah, we'll have Rusty for at least some amount of time. Hope to see you guys there. I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.